Abusafo ye mo bibia akwaba emfa mbra mega TV and platform we eso nyankopon enhira obibia a wodi aki since day one. Lawyer Martin Kpebu any Dr. Zaato Clâshed. In fact, enye ize ni na operation recover all loot. Omo adwuma omo any attorney general nkofo case a oye press conference a obiebie mu. In fact, NDC legal counsel no member baako eka ho lawyer Amaliba enso na oka ho bi sanso na owura ye frɛ no Musa Dankwa enso edi nsem bi ba montin so efa economy how John Mahama any NDC enyema esi ekɔ what you say na abusia quick one yentie nsani bi how a conversation esi kɔ na yekoba ya to also obibia
he said that state should be signing savers. I think that instead of fighting the statistics, like my brother here is doing, the NPP should rather, and for that matter, the flag bearer aspirants should rather focus on their campaigns and leave these statistics to speak for themselves. But on the ground, they can change things rather than appearing to be fighting what Dankwa is doing. I think that there's no need to fight statistics. What you can do is to meet the delegates and turn over things. If Bawumia is doing 45% or is it 44%, it speaks bad of his campaign.
That's amongst the 2,643 delegates.
No, somebody who had the backing of the establishment in the last elections should now be doing 44%. It's a clear indication that, but for the establishment the last time, he couldn't have even won the elections. That's how you look at it.
Really?
He had the support of the establishment the last time. This time, he's doing 44 without the establishment, and you think that it is good? It's not good.
So that's how you interpret this data that you are seeing?
Yeah. Look at the man's campaign last time. He was flying.
What do you mean by he was flying?
He was the favorite of the establishment. That's what I meant by he was flying. You get my point? Today, there's no establishment behind him. And he's struggling with 44%.
That's just not true. You don't even know that. You don't even have the data.
He's struggling with 44%.
Have you seen the data?
If you are a front runner, check. All those who are front runners, they make above 50%. You got my point? So if you have a 44% today,
Dr. Zaato thinks otherwise. This is a clear reflection. You had Musa Dankwa as well. He's in commanding lead. If things remain this way, that's all things being equal.
Let me help Abraham. You don't understand the data. One, I'm just telling you.
I don't want you to help me. Don't help me here.
I'll help you.
It is my time.
You need help.
So you were talking when I came.
When you realize
restrain him.
Restrain him.
Dr. Zaato,
I don't need your help. You make convoluted arguments here.
Hold on.
You make convoluted arguments here.
Help him. Say he doesn't need. So
I don't need your help.
Okay,
now look at 15% undecided, and look at 15% undisclosed. Normally, these figures, if they finally make up their mind, will not go to the front runner. You get me? So the front runner who is at 44% now, which is Dr. Bawumia, is a bad testament for him.
Thank you. You see what he just said. That is just wrong. That is not. Myself and Musa, we just concluded that. In the last time, this was where Bawumia was sitting, 44 in 2023, even with the establishment. At the end of the day, this undisclosed on this, they broke for him by over 70%. That was what happened the last time. That was a trend analysis. So that's what I'm saying. Let me teach you something. They say where he was last year is where he is today. And the data for the last time told us that 3 months after the election, he was around 44. He ended up winning over 60%.
Okay.
And the same figures. And 3 months after the election, undecided, undisclosed was also almost 30%, just like they are today. So Musa, we just agreed with Musa Dankwa that This, in fact, if you look very well, you see that the numbers and they are just replicating themselves. That's the way they were. And how did they finally end? That's the way you read statistics. You look at what it was, and then you look at where it is going, and then you then come to understand that Musa Deko made a point, and that is the point. Almost all the undisclosed, a good number of them were government appointees. So they didn't want to come, and they wanted to keep this air of what? Neutrality. That's my argument.
Okay.
If you look at today,
that's your argument.
Yes.
Almost
all of them. Okay. Almost all of them have now come are now eligible to vote, but most of them are still. Some of them are former regional ministers, former MCs. They still hold government positions. So some of them still want to keep this veneer of but the history and the track record and the transition tells you that clearly. Dr. Bawumia, if this even stays like that, he's going to do at least the 61% again. That's the minimum. And that is the what statistics show. You don't understand the statistics.
Hold on.
You've not done this. You cannot come to that conclusion. Hold on. That conclusion you had was WAP.
Okay, wait. You know what? You have a different view.
Look.
Okay, so
look.
I'll come to you. You have a different view. It doesn't necessarily mean that his understanding of it is warped.
Okay. It's not WAP. But there's
because of
Agree.
Intellectual discourse, you don't discredit with those words.
Agree.
You'd want to withdraw that, right?
So withdraw. But here's the statistics.
Thank you. All right. No, I think point of please.
It is warped logic.
You have also just
I'll give him his own dose.
No. He has just withdrawn
it is
that.
Warped logic to think that you have a superior argument.
Ramalaba, just for some decorum here, he just withdrew that. Let's go on that same path and don't digress. So let's
take this your things away from you.
Look, just make your point.
The point is that Dr. Bawumia, as a front runner, shouldn't be doing 44%. That's my argument. Whether it was in the last elections or these elections, Bawumia, as a front runner, shouldn't be doing 44%. Because Bawumia had all the support, from the establishment. Today, if Bawumia is doing 44%, I feel that he's not a favorite for the people. Now, I heard Dankwa when I was coming in saying that if the undisclosed and the undecided vote massively for Kennedy Ajapong, then he can upstage Bawumia. You heard that? You heard what he said on that?
Yes.
So I am saying that as we see it today now, as we are looking at the figures now, it is not yet Uhuru for Bawumia.
Okay.
That's my point.
Well, but that's your view, okay? Dr. Zaato also has his own view that in reading the statistics through his lenses, it's an emphatic win for Dr. Bawumia. You're entitled to your own views. But Mr. Dankwa, who is responsible for what we are even debating, I'll come to you on it because your position has been quite consistent over the last few weeks. Can it be said, Mr. Dankwa, that the undisclosed 15%, majority of them could be former government appointees? That position that Dr. Zaato espoused, which is his view, let me be emphatic on that. Would it be consistent with your findings?
No, that is not correct. These people are polling station executives. They are not government appointees. They account for about 90% of those who are going to vote. We didn't interview the government appointees at that level. So what you are hearing or what you are seeing in numbers are people who are at the very, very bottom of the party and not appointees.
It's beyond this, what we are saying, you saw some MPs come out to declare support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It means that he even though it's below 50%, you can't discount the impact and influence he's having, is it not?
At all, no, we can't discount it. We can't discount it. The figures hardly lie. So at 44%, well, what surprises me, and I've said it ad nauseum, but they are tone deaf. They should have seen that the last election speaks volumes. That's even putting it mildly. We should be using a stronger term. Maybe I'll get it. A man who went to the elections and got 41-point-something%, right? And the context is that he had supported President Kufuor to unleash terror, famine, death, so much misery on Ghanaians. Such a candidate doesn't appeal to the voter. You see, what we should be looking at is do you have a candidate who appeal to floating voters like me? That is where they should be looking at. And so this one is like they are tickling themselves and laughing. Baumia won't appeal to floating voters. No.
The large floating voter population.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
if you look at it, it's actually the floating voters who decide elections.
Exactly. You see, you take it roughly that each party has about 45%. You see, even this time, Baumia did less. He got 41 point something. So some NPP members even drifted this across, right? I mean, because largely, I'm happy Zaato is here. Political science, when they teach you generally, they will tell you that, look, each of the two biggest parties has roughly about 45%. So generally,
now come down a bit to
changing.
40% now.
So
but even that is contested.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the register of both NPP and NDC, they don't have 2 million on over-registered.
Yes, not everybody wants to be registered.
Precisely.
Not
so they will have people who would be associated with the party, but not known members.
Yes, because of
party.
Their jobs most
Those
of the time.
You need to make that distinction.
Yes, so we are not talking about registers. No, the registers don't tell the full story, but we look at the election results. The two biggest political parties roughly sharing about 40, I mean, like taking about 90% of the voter population, right? So you have roughly the small parties and then those floating voters, about 10%, roughly. We're saying roughly. I mean,
it could be more than that, roughly.
Yes.
Then you see that bracket is expanding.
It's expanding.
The floating voter bracket.
Exactly. And so that is what the NPP should be looking at. So I keep telling you, I don't know how you can say they are fielding Baumia for, I mean, if he wins. It's just like giving NDC a cheap victory. Very cheap.
Really?
It will be a walk in the park.
That's your view?
Oh, yeah. It will be a walk in the park. Look, last week I said it, well, people say it was too strong when I said Baumia would never be president of Ghana. I was just saying it as it should be said because it's so glaring that with the kind of economic mismanagement Baumia can't stand for himself. He's not a principled man.
Why do you say that?
Let me show you. The NDA, common NDA, Baumia comes from the north. Look, the time I just saw that Baumia is spineless is that Baumia, you come from the north. NDA, Professor Anamzoya, then Dr. Anamzoya wrote to you that, look, people are stealing funds from NDA. Your own North, where you come from, they are stealing funds from NDA. Baumia did nothing. Anamzoya was just lucky that somehow he found me, and then I took the case to the OSP. Today, the 4 persons are before court. At least OSP is done very well. We've crossed the prima facie stage, so now they've opened their defenses.
Right.
We've not said they are guilty. Nobody can say so. It's the judge who will say so. But we are within our rights to say that our money was leaving for unlawful purposes. So we're eventually going to take about 21 million. So nobody's pronouncing guilt, but we're saying that where it was going, the contracts had been overinflated, etc. And then you remember Rosemont, the lady who worked with Baumia. Rosemont, is it Apia or something? The lady who, a few days to the elections, she came out, she worked with Baumia. Said Baumia can't stand firm. Anything they come, he tries to please everybody. And like they say, if you want to please everybody, then go sell ice cream. If you want to please everybody, go sell ice cream. So look, for me, the core thing is that once NPP came into power and Baumia couldn't deliver that economic magic, they said they would transform the economy within 18 months. What did Baumia think he was doing when he kept echoing that 18 months? And was it rocket science? All it took was for us to what? Ramp up agriculture. Yes, they brought planting for food and jobs, but it's not sufficient. Okay. It's not sufficient to cause that transformational change. And look, this structure of our economy has been there for decades. Though, yes, now services, over a decade now, services is bigger. It's bigger. It's the biggest chunk. But you can't run away from the fact that if you want to transform the Ghanaian economy, agriculture is pivotal because, look, we spend billions on what? Food, rice, oil, poultry. You see the Nkukon Kitinkiti project that the current government has introduced. That's a Feed Ghana. We hope with years it will do something. So please, the current administration too has to watch because they say they are doing Feed Ghana. They have to make sure that they put in enough resources to transform. Because
so that's one of the areas which will influence your vote in 2028?
Yes. But one thing too is very clear. Yes, economy, democracy, etc. Yes, I'll be very rational. Is the performance. But so far from the track records where Bawumia is coming from, he's way behind. I don't know, because he's in opposition now. So I don't know what he can do to, overturn his own figures. So that's why the logic is that unless this current government performs worse than the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, Bawumia can't be president. And then by 2032, he'll be too old. 69, 70. We are not going to take chance. You see the Gen Zs, we want fresh blood. We want fresh blood. So Bawumia, using Bawumia for 2028, it doesn't add up, because he doesn't stand a dog's chance. He doesn't stand, because the figures they have, the economic mismanagement they unleashed on Ghanaians, that's why he'll be taken to 2028. So he's so tainted, he's not sellable. Bawumia is not sellable.
Well, you make that forceful point, but it still remains your view. Right.
But it's reflected in the elections. You see the 1.6 million votes difference. It tells you that they did far worse than JM did. Let's not forget, in 2016, we threw out JM. We were very clear that JM didn't qualify. He didn't have the necessary credentials to be president. Little did we know that we're going to have a worse set of candidates. That's Akufo-Addo and Bawumia. So much so that now JM looked like an angel. So for JM to look like an angel and to win the 2024 election, that tells you the extent to which NPP sank this country.
So
they sank us, because remember 2016, we're very clear that no, JM cannot leave this country. The same thing we're saying, no, we said this man is not qualified. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. We need men of stature, men who have, beaten a path, men who have succeeded in life, and Akufo-Addo appeared to be that person. No, it was all a hype. We brought in Akufo-Addo. Bawumia made a few speeches, like they say, talk is cheap. Now they say walk the talk, he couldn't walk. So if you want to see the extent to which NPP sank us, it's in one sentence. JM, who in 2016 looked very horrible, very bad, now look like an angel.
Okay. Well, Dr. Zaato, two things. That in the view of Lawyer Martin Kpebu, does it reflect a certain constituency of people that the only way the NPP will stand a chance, that's with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is when this administration performs extremely worse than what they did, than what you left us. So then that it would legitimize the comeback.
Thank you.
Essentially.
I want to look at it. Sometimes, Matt, you say, we will not bring you and who? Matt, you have one vote, I have one vote, I have one vote. So say, I will not. And everybody knows, nobody expects you to vote for Bawumia. Nobody. And nobody expects you to advocate for him. So say, I will not. You used to say, we will not. It just, look, America just voted for an 80-year or 79-year-old vote. So if you say we the Gen Zs, you whom? And Donald Trump won the Gen Z vote. So say, I will not vote for him. Everybody knows. Nobody expects you to vote for him. That is one thing. Two, you said something about agric. I'm happy you started there. Last year, by this time, in Tumu, my hometown of Tumu, where we produce the best maize in Sisala land. If you sold one bag of fertilizer, maize, you can buy one bag of fertilizer. That was a fact. Today, you need at least 2 bags of maize to buy one fertilizer. What is the economic improvement there? What's the benefit there? So if you go and talk to farmers now, the economy that they left, is better than, in fact, not only that, if you go to Tumuna, there's a glut of maize in Sisala land, they can't get anybody to buy. So if you start with agric, that agric, whatever it is, it was better, the agric economy was far better than the current economy they have too. There's also this theory wrong about the fact that the voting patterns depend upon how good or bad the government performs. In 2008, J. Akufo had performed a miracle for this country. He took a HIPIC economy, and by the time J. Akufo was leaving office, the economy was considered a middle-income economy. He performed excellently, every indicator. All the best social interventionist policies we have in Ghana now were introduced by J. Akufo. Name them: school feeding, mass transport, cocoa spraying. All of them. Mass. He did some mass cocoa spraying. What I'm saying, I'm making a point. Yeah. Almost all the big,
we're listing
all the best social interventionist policies that this country started. NIA, National.
I want to take out the cocoa spraying.
Okay, so take it out.
Because that was there.
Metro mass. I'm talking about metro mass. I'm talking about school feeding. I'm talking about national health insurance. These are the bedrocks of the social intervention process we have today. Kufo introduced them. NIA. Oh, I mean, we can't say NIA. PSSR, was he president? Was he the one who implemented? He was the one who implemented. So he was the one who implemented it.
Let's round up on this.
Was he the one who implemented it? Was he the one who implemented it? I'm telling you the policy. So he did all that.
No.
Kufuor didn't even pass
the economy. Brought the economy. Kufuor brought the economy from a HIPIC economy to a middle income economy. But then people still lost the elections. So losing an election sometimes has absolutely nothing to do with the economy. The economy that Biden won the election, Trump was considered unelectable, was not good, but Trump came back. So my point is, every election is different. Okay. So to pontificate that, you will not vote for because Bawumia lost election, he won't win again. It's not supported by any data at all or by any political theory or logic. Say you won't vote for him, we understand. Say you will support him, we understand. Okay. Say you will vote for the NDC candidate, we support him. But to then try to extrapolate that and then try to see things you can impose on the Ghanaians that we will not vote, we won't do that. You are who? You have one vote, everybody has one vote.
Okay.
And the records indicate. We've seen, look, so far, we have a very anonymous vice president. You realize that?
You don't believe
Do you know why the current vice president is anonymous? It's because of the stellar.
You don't think that Martin Kpebu represents a certain constituency of people who,
no, he doesn't.
Who think alike?
Yes, and that constituency is NDC.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's biased. He's never since one day supported Bawumia.
You know something?
He's never since one day supported.
You would.
Yes, he's never supported.
You would say that. I mean, it's a constituency of people who think alike, but not necessarily having.
I've not seen any data to support that. If he shows me data to support a constituency that thing like
him, I'll buy that. He has a question that you think Dr. Bawumia would appeal to the floating voter population?
Yes, and I say he will, and he should, because think about it. I've just given you an example. Mm-hmm. If you look at the current vice president of the Republic of Ghana, she's anonymous. Do you know why she's anonymous? She's anonymous.
That's your view.
That's my view, of course. We are all expressing our views here. We are not here to express somebody else's view.
I agree. Will see her do other things.
What Dr. Bawumia has achieved, his policies, they are ringing policies right now all over this country, right now, that are being implemented by this government, that were born out of the hard work he did. He himself will tell you he fought battles. He lost some, he won some. And then if you look at it, then you're going to begin to realize how he was one of the most phenomenal, one of the most transformational vice presidents. Okay. And Ghana will be very safe in Dr. Bawumia's hands. Right. And that's it. And as I said, I made this the last time. I sit here and I look at the NDC's bench. I look at the people, the NDC's bench, Ato Folsom, the sitting vice president, Haruna Idrisu, General Mosquito. You yourself even said General Mosquito doesn't have the finance to be a president. You said something I know. Yeah. None of those stand a chance against Dr. Bawumia. His stellar performance, he will beat all of them. They are all lightweights and they are all rookies.
Okay, thank you. Well, Alfred, Lawyer Amaliba, and I want to conclude on this because we need to go to the next.
Alfred, maize, the price of maize is farm gate price of 100 kilograms maize is 450.
450 Ghana
450. From the height of 800 to 1,000 per bag in the last year. So if you say that maize is rather going up, in Techima market, it is stated here that the price of maize is 450 Ghana cedis at Techima Central Market in September 2026.
Okay,
so you don't come here and tell lies.
What is the lies?
Stop that!
Can you rein him in?
What is the lies I told?
Can you rein him in? I said, can you rein him in?
A bag of maize is below.
Stop making noise.
Okay, hold on.
Stop that.
You cannot stop that.
Hold on.
You do it. I said to you. I just said Techima. I'm not from Techima. Into a bag of maize is below 400.
So you reference.
Stop that.
Hold on, gentlemen.
I said you two to at least afford one. To afford one.
Gentlemen,
can you behave?
Thank you.
One cannot buy you one. One cannot buy you one.
Let's maintain some decorum.
No, you need two to buy one. So
after you come onto this program, what do your students tell you? When you come on this way, you go back to class. What do they tell you? Stop misbehaving. So the point is that
hold on. So you say you reference listen. You referenced particular pricing. Good. No, but then again, it means that the cost of the maize per bag has reduced. So now people are able to buy cheaper. His point is that because the price has reduced and people are buying it cheaper, now the maize farmers would have to sell double to be able to afford the price of one NPK fertilizer.
So do you want prices to come down or you want prices to go up?
Exactly.
So no, I just want, what kind of logic is that? No, the ordinary guy, what does he want? The logic of this thing doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Food prices used to be skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And in this country, we got to a point, it was a tipping point, when people were calling on the military to rise up because the economy was tough. Now, you have prices coming down, and you have an academic sitting here and making convoluted arguments. Do people want prices to come down so they can have 3 square meals a day, or people want to be feeling hungry every day? Is it hunger we want, or want to have food? So, for me, it is neither here nor there. If you think that fertilizer prices are going up, make your argument towards that one. Straight point. But don't compare food prices coming down to fertilizer. Why? It is clear that when prices are coming down and food prices are becoming to be cheap, then Ghanaians feel happy for that. I do not see how his argument about connecting it to fertilizer, and I'm here to check, because even that one, when this guy says anything, you have to check whether that one too is true. But clearly, if you have a government that is doing well, as in the NDC now, consider the air of freedom that is blowing across this country. In fact, you land at Kotoka International Airport and you can feel the air of freedom. And compare that to the tension, the way Ghanaians were tensed in the previous administration. If the current administration even puts any animal there, wouldn't they vote for him? As compared to Bawumia, who was at the forefront. So it's about, the whole thing is about how this government is performing.
You would respect the sentiments of Ghanaians, and if you put an animal there, nobody will vote for you. So I think you have to.
Yeah, I'll withdraw that one. But yes. I just want to tell you that if you put anybody from the NDC in that position, he will win the elections as against Dr. Bawumia. Particularly when it was Dr. Bawumia who spearheaded the hardships that Ghanaians faced. So this data that you are seeing, if Bawumia wins the elections from the NPP side, it is clearly going to be a walkover for the NDC. And I think that's where Martin is coming from. Okay. But I will be happy when that happens, because Martin is cautioning them, they are not listening. But I will be happy as an NDC person that we need to have a walkover. And so this data that you are seeing does not speak well for the NPP. Okay. Because the NPP cannot, with Bawumia, win the elections in 2028.
Is that your verdict? Dr. Zaato disagrees. I'll end this conversation with Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa, yes, it is indeed the case that different elections have, different influencing factors. But there's no way you can take out the economy at any point, is it not? Because yes, you would have even the candidate who is representing the party also play a role. Because then again, if the candidate is not one that would galvanize the base to come out to vote, it's all about the numbers. So if you don't get them out, you would lose. But the economy is an integral part of voter decision making, is it not?
Absolutely right. In every election we've seen in this country, economy has been the number one issue, good or bad. When you ride on a very good economy, that tends to rub off the ruling government. If the economy is bad, they tend to be punished. If you look at the last election, there were 3 top issues that were bothering voters. 1 was economy, 2 was unemployment, 3 education. And these were the reasons why NPP lost. On the first top 2, they performed miserably. And on the third one, who were divided as whether the free education was good at all. So the economy has always been number 1.
I see. Zananko, I appreciate you for this. Thank you. When is the next poll, by the way?
Next month, November.
So you're going to do this, in fact, because the NPP has just about 107 days from now. 107 days.
Every 30 days, there will be NPP delegate polls.
Every 30 days.
Correct.
Perfect. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Musa
My
Dankwa is the Executive of Global Info Analytics, Executive Director, also the lead global researcher for Global Info Analytics. Thank you for joining us. I've got quite a number of your messages, a number of you asking me to allow Martin Kpebu describe himself as a Gen Z. It's a state of the mind, is it not?
I like that, like Trump says. Yes, we are a borderline with them, so we are neighbors.
True. So you are Gen Z.
My mind.
People are selling prices of maize in their various
Yes, exactly.
Navrongo is 400. Navrongo is 400, so cheap. Then today's Navrongo market day, they say it's 400. Then a bag of fertilizer, they say it's 400.
Where?
You see,
Bag of Yara. A bag of Yara is
So you see,
500.
what you said is not inconsistent with part of what he said.
Yes.
I think that the issue is the price of maize has gone down.
Yes, I said that.
That has reduced.
I said that.
Which is for the greater good, because then people are buying food at a cheaper price.
Yes.
His issue is that now it's at a loss to the farmers because then they have to.
It discourages farmers from seeing it as a business. You invest in it because it's a business.
No,
If you are not spending money for price to go up. I'm making the point. So you do it. You see, you need to have
I think you could have just ended it there.
Just one statement. Listen, if the price of maize coming down means that the price of other foodstuffs and generally the economy prices have come down. So the farmer who now has to use more than one bag to buy the NPK, his prices, cost of living has come down. So overall, he's better off.
So there's a trade-off.
Yes, exactly. That's the way. Thank you. It's a trade-off.
Okay, thank you. So let's be very holistic in our.
Yes, this one-sided politics is too much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. And the next issue this morning, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Akuritinga-Ayene, earlier in the week, in fact, a couple of days ago, addressed the press, giving details of finally the rumble in the jungle and why he tags it that way after the thriller in Manila. But we start off this conversation with his verdict on the oral preparatory team's work. This is what he said about the oral preparatory team, and the fact that the report they presented had quite some work to be done on it. Reason why it's influenced this delay in prosecutions, as some have been complaining about. Take a look at this.
The investigations were necessary because the oral committee reports did not contain the evidence required to prove the guilt of the suspects in court beyond reasonable doubt. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which will determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project.
The Attorney General there giving details of a number of cases so far that are under investigation, those that are on trial, and then also those that the cases have actually been concluded. And this is the picture that he painted. And some of the cases were not even captured in the oral report. I bet it that the National Signals Bureau, this case, Kpebu, you're a member of the oral preparatory team. Yes. Was it captured in your report, the National Signals Bureau?
No, that one, Dr. Ayini says Raymond Archer did it personally. Yes, okay, good. He said it publicly that it's Raymond Archer, Yoku boss, who did it personally.
Great. So it's the NSS was captured.
Yeah. Yes.
And then SkyTrain.
Yes. Yes.
Good. So there are 3 cases in trial. 2 out of the
but Raymond Archer is a
member of ORA.
He's ORA, so
you're
the value is the same.
Right. But it wasn't captured in there.
Yes.
I just wanted to establish that. But then again, so there are 3 cases in trial now. That's the NSS, SkyTrain, and then also you have the National Signals Bureau. It says that yesterday.
And Akunta Mining. Yeah, Akunta Mining.
Akunta Mining, yes. He announced 17 cases. He ran through quite a lengthy one. Investigations have been concluded. In 10 of them, there are 4 cases under investigation as we speak. But he says this is work in progress. But this is the verdict that he put on your work as oral preparatory team. He says that the report you presented lacked evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Why so? Because these are criminal cases. The threshold for establishing guilt, as it were, or investigating criminal cases is beyond, or it must be beyond reasonable doubt. And so the report that you presented lacked this very essential ingredient for criminal cases, that the evidence must indeed be beyond reasonable doubt. Is it a fair verdict on your work as the oral preparatory team?
Yes, but yes. I mean, just speaking straight talk. Yes, but it's not a negative verdict. It's not negative. Even there is a part of the speech. Maybe you can let your producers look for it and bring. Why he said that the mandate was limited.
In fact,
yes, the mandate was limited. So when you read the 2 together, no, he couldn't have been. Yes, he can criticize ORA on other aspects, but this particular one, he wasn't.
I don't think this was meant to criticize.
Exactly, that's why I said so. It's not negative. He was just describing the state of affairs. You see, let's not forget that. You see, we are doing a whole of government approach in governance now. A whole of the nation, okay, a whole of the nation approach. So when you're doing something, you carry the citizens along. What led to this oral team? President Mahama said that as soon as he won, people were inundating him with reports. He couldn't cope. Naturally, you know, it's why he manned the 1 or 2 phones. He couldn't cope. So quickly, he thought that, no, why don't I set up a committee to receive these complaints, document them in an orderly fashion, so that when I take over, these reports will be given to the Attorney General, who will then distribute, you know, because Attorney General cannot prosecute corruption cases. He has to give over to the OSP, etc. When it's if it is money laundering, it has to go to Yoko, etc. Right? So the president said he had to do that, and that's a master stroke. It was a high watermark decision. High watermark decision, because people inundating him. So if he didn't do anything, then it will show that he's tone deaf. But he got an idea. Why don't I get some citizens to sit and get some staff to collect and collate these reports? You see, so that's why Dr. Ayene himself said that ORA couldn't have done forensic investigations. ORA couldn't have done detailed ones.
Right.
So we receive reports, and then for some of the reports, if we had other publicly available information, we put all these together to make the story, a bit comprehensive, readable, and so to ginger investigation. So I don't see Dr. Ayene as saying something negative about ORA. He was just reminding citizens that what ORA did is not investigations to produce a docket that will take you into court.
Well, there are some of the view that if that's all you did, then really it was a waste of time, because there are other institutions who could have been receiving these complaints. Why set up a committee for that matter?
Those institutions always existed, yet the fact that they were going to the president-elect tells you that at least citizens had lost hope, and faith in these institutions. And it happens because a lot of those institutions couldn't assert themselves.
Shraj.
You remember, yes,
Shraj,
OSP, CID. CID, I always mentioned Madam, they say, what do you call her? Faustina and Kofi, COP, and Dampari, yes, all of them. They didn't assert themselves. Ekufado was the clearing agent, so he muscled them. You remember here, Akunta Mining, we present, thank God, Edem is here.
Let me introduce at this point, Edem Senano is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's going to be wearing two hats this morning. But good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. So Adam Senanu sitting by me here and I, Kenashigbe, and then Dr. Kwame Sapoesidu presented the petition on this Akunta Mining to a CID boss, Faustina and Kofi. October 2022. October 2022. Then and then about 3 days later, the media coalition against illegal mining, led by Kenashibe, though he was part of us, he also led his group to present another petition to IG. So two petitions, one to CID boss, 3 or 4 days later, another to IG himself. So two petitions, and they were consolidated, that's put together, because IG Dampari referred it to Ando Kofi. Then Ando Kofi got investigators, Godwin Ponyo, Superintendent Inkum, etc. I think there was a third one. This, so long and short, we all know this investigation that was in rocket science, because we even attached the pen drives that showed the distraction to the Tano Nimri Forest, etc. Yet Ando Kofi and IG Dampari made sure that this case didn't go to court. They were pussyfooting, kukwasa sa, and then you see how it helped to kick out the Kufado administration. So a lot of Ghanaians had lost faith in this institution. So they said, no, JM is coming. Let's go and give our petitions to JM. You can't fault them. You can't fault them. They saw those institutions and chose to go to JM. And when we opened the oral lines, you see, over 2,500 complaints. And then we did those that we could do within that limited time. So that decision, look, trust me, but since this government took over, if they did things that are not right, I disagree. You remember, as soon as the president came, this asset declaration law, when he gave an extension for appointees to fill the declaration, I said no. Under Article 284, he doesn't have such a mandate. He doesn't have the power to extend, because the law says that the appointee must fill before entering the office. A number of things. Bank of Ghana, they invading the home, the arrest warrant. I spoke against government 3 weeks ago. This Albert Dana Lababore, the Gift to Waris case, Abronye's case. We can mention. So I'm the same person. So what I'm telling you that if it is wrong, I mean, my estimation, remember, I have limited knowledge. Yes. So if only I see it wrong, I'll say it. And I'm sure I'll continue to occupy this seat, because at least I've been that objective. I'm sure if I were pandering to NDC lines, Bana, you would have removed me and you will find a more credible candidate. So please, it's not lost on me. As for the decision of the president to create ORA, is high watermark. We filled in the vacuum at that time. Remember, when citizens are supporting you, it's only for a while. If they support you and you are not responding, if they find that you are tone deaf, they withdraw. And then you find it difficult to get them to rally behind you. So that's the president's stellar decision that no, let me carry the citizens along, even though I don't have office. And we did it. Yeah, I saw it somewhere. Bafwe Wua said it was a waste of state resources. The MP,
yes.
Lawyer. I said, but where? We didn't take 1 Ghana cedis of government money. 1 Ghana cedis, not even fuel.
With all your work on oral,
not even water from government.
No payment from government.
No, we didn't. But you think we are foolish?
No, but I mean, council.
When I say, sorry, let me withdraw. Yeah. We are wiser than that. I know that this seat, if I took 1 Ghana, even 1 Ghana, the rest of no, I'm a bit smarter than that. I won't. Small money, you won't get me. I won't take because you pay a high price. Then it better be money that will change my life forever. But I mean, come on. Yes, I go and take like 100,000, 200,000. No, me. I may not have it to spend like that, but I won't take. You have to take transformational money. The one so like the said he would transform the economy.
All the members of the committee didn't take any.
1 Ghana cedi. Remember, at the time it was formed, ORA were appointed on the 18th of December. President Mahama was president-elect. He was not in office. Then he came into office. We handed over on the 10th of February. I'm telling you that even water from government, no. Water. A bottle of water from government. No, we are smarter than that. As nation expect sacrifice, and we understood it. So the first day we met, we said no, nobody is taking anything. Okay. Citizens are expecting sacrifice because.
So how about the other person
right
who
now,
works with you?
It's very clear that politics pays more than a lot of jobs. It's the most lucrative. Political appointment is far more lucrative than going into industry. So, and citizens don't like it. So, it was very clear to me that if we took 1 Ghana and we all added them, within 1 minute, we're done. I said, gentlemen, are we clear that nobody's going to take anything? Yeah, within a minute. That thing was shelled. That was, yes. Finished.
How about the other persons who worked with you? No.
All of them, sacrifices.
I see.
Yes, lawyers, okay? Yes, a whole lot of them. They are here. Lawyers and law students. Some of them have since, Kabute and Co. have since graduated. Okay, Adanuti Noah and the other lawyers, many, they all help, sacrifice, sleepless nights.
You mean Kabunate?
Kabunate, yeah, he just graduated. Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I see. Dr. Zaato, on this, it's going to be a graduated conversation. The verdict on oral, you've heard that from a member of the preparatory team, was not a waste of resources. It came in to fill a very critical gap at that time to ensure that people have the confidence to come up with information. The Attorney General is working on it, albeit it says in a slow but very effective pace.
Thank you very much. First, I just want to say something. I'm quoting the Deputy Attorney General. Oral's 21 billion recovery figure not supported by evidence. That's something that the Deputy Attorney General is alleged to have said that it wasn't, okay? And then I have another statement here. All our data included garbage. Entries collected without verification. That is all coming from a member of what? Oral. Telling us that the information they collected is garbage, is crap. And that, or some of the information, and that Oral's 20 billion recovery not supported by evidence. I want to situate my presentation based on these 2 fundamental things. Look. I have a theory that I've passed and I've said it here. I believe in accountability. And I believe in regime accountability and post-regime accountability. I believe that if a government in power, either through your actions or inactions, willfully or roughly, refuse to hold your own people to account for office, that is regime accountability. That the next government that comes has every right and must use every legitimate means to hold those people accountable. At the end of the day, so long as there's accountability, at the end of the day, so long as you are telling people that if you raise your hand and swear an oath to occupy a public office, there is a day you will be held accountable. And when that day comes, so long as your fundamental human rights are protected, and so long as the presumptions of innocence, all those basic things, so long as they are respected, you will never see me come and sit here and try to justify to somebody for what they have not done. No. Let the law take its course. Let the people's rights be respected. Let it go there. I want to say that. And at the end of the day, my belief too is that let the courts and not a politician decide the fate of the people that are signed.
Okay.
I believe in those things. Then that is what brought me to this issue. Oral, even if we cannot get the 20 billion or whatever it is, oral get money, people are being prosecuted. I have no problem with that. But here's where I have the problem, or here's where I have the issue. When this Attorney General came in, he issued up to 6 or 5 no-law prosecutors. Prosecutor. Oh, thank you. Prosecutors. Thank you.
Prosecutor.
He issued them.
Yeah.
I call those sweetheart deals to all those who got the knowledge prosecutors were members of the NDC. The government did not allow a court of competent jurisdiction to determine these people's guilt or innocence. No. They denied a court that decision. And those decisions were made by a politician and they benefited a politician. They were made by an NDC attorney general and they benefited former and current NDC officials. Sweetheart deals. If you add the money, the total money in all these knowledge prosecute cases, they will be equal to or they will be almost close to what the money Oral was supposed to get. That is money now flushed down the toilet. These people also bought properties, plenty properties. These people also made investment. We've now told them our government has come, Abai Papa Aba, and because Abai Papa has go chop the money, spend the money. Your freedom is there. Do whatever you want with that money. We'll drop the cases for you. But now we are chasing another money that we say people have stolen. Imagine in a fair country. Imagine we had a minister of justice, who says, look, even though you are my party member, even though we are in the same party, I will let the courts determine your fate. I will let the courts determine whether you are guilty or not. Let the courts do that. Meanwhile, I will also and chase these ones. Imagine we collected both monies. Imagine in a just world, we collected the money of the 7 or 5 or knowledge prosecutor cases, and then we also chased these people and collected all their money. We'll be rich. We could easily fund Big Push. We could easily establish the Women Development Bank. We could easily pay cocoa farmers the 6,000 we promised them. We could easily do almost all the transformational things that this government has promised. My point is, why do you tell some group of people who are all your political friends keep the money that you are alleged to have stolen? And in almost all the cases, you made something. Is it presumption of
innocence? Yes.
No, where you get to in the court and the attorney general has made this case. Prima facie has been established and they have opened their cases. That means that the courts have determined that there were questions to be answered. Not a human being. You could say the case was weak, the case agree. In the ambulance case, in the cocoa board case, the snake case. Unethical. Okay, good. But I'm saying that in some of the cases, in the cases, they have passed that stage where the court has found that the evidence provided that the people should open their defense, right? They have passed that stage. My point is, where is the hurry? Why don't you let the court? So you left. So imagine all the money. Let's say it was 50 billion that those people were alleged to have stolen, and then it's $50 billion here. 50 billion. You are saying this people keep the $50 billion. Chop it. Do whatever you want it. But I will now start chasing this $50 billion. I think it's unethical and I think it's fair. And a minister of justice must seem to be doing justice to all right now. He says you're only doing justice to NDC people and NDC friends, but injustice to people that you perceive to political opponents. Now, there's something there I completely agree with Martin. That in doing these cases, we should also look for retrieval, not necessarily convictions. Yeah. And my benchmark will be, that is why I completely disagree with the 60-40 with the Unibank case. My fundamental starting process is this. You are allowed to have stolen this one. 1, pay all the money. 2, with interest. That's where I'll start the negotiations from. I'll tell the attorney general if I could advise you, look, pay all the money first. If you are alleged to have stolen $2 million, you pay it first with at least 10% interest. Okay. Once we have all this money, then we can talk. I will go for that because, as we've seen, in 2028, NDC loses power. They make me attorney general. Okay, they won't make me because I'm not a lawyer, right? And then I come and say, hey, all of you are my friends, let's share the money and you go home. What happens? The state keeps losing. And there's something. These accused people are smart, they are intelligent, and they have money, and they can hire the best lawyers in this country. The best lawyers money can buy, like the Kpebus. Some of us, we cannot afford the Kpebus. They can afford the Kpebus. They can afford the best lawyers. And these lawyers know the system. They can play the system out. And that's why we've seen that a case stays in court for almost 8-7 years. It's because of the brilliance and intelligence of defense attorneys. Assuming we do that, if we put the retrieval on the board and say, do this, then it will also help. So that they don't lose. The president also did something this week that I want to applaud him for. You said I'm always, but I'm not. Setting up the special course to retrieve the monies from the auditor generals. Mm-hmm. Smart idea, brilliant idea, wonderful. I completely agree with that. That is how we begin to bring people to accountability. Let it be done. But also, Mr. President, I think we should structure it in a way like this. Once again, get the money. Mm-hmm. If you are a chief executive or whatever you are, and you say you've stolen this money, let's get the money with interest first. Then secondly, there must be something punitive. And the punitive is that if you were a chief director, let's drop you by a point or two. Mm-hmm. You were a chief, all of a sudden you are now a manager. We've taken the money, we've taken this, and then do that. If we do these things, we'll begin to improve our public governance. these are the things we need to do to make sure that how we govern the country and that we don't give opportunity for people to loot this country and hide it somewhere. We must seem to be fair.
Mezano, master stroke, oral?
Well, yes, I think I was probably one of the first. Thank you. I think I was probably one of the first to say that I thought it was brilliant. And I said so on the back of the Afrobarometer data, which had shown that this is 2022-2023, which showed that over 30% of Ghanaians said they were unwilling to report corruption for two reasons. First reason was they anticipated victimization or retaliation. In other words, their biodata would be released, and so persons who ought not to know, including those who they were reporting, would then attack them. So that was one reason they would not report. And the second was because they thought nothing would change. Now, the brilliance of Aura for me was in the composition of the committee. That the persons who had been put on the committee are persons who are known to have handled data over the years of sources of information without leaking who told them the information. So whether it was Martin, or whether it was Samuel Ablakwa, or whether it was Kofi Boachie, these are persons known within the anti-corruption space. I am. So I have the confidence to go and report. So I felt from being part of the analysis of Afrobarometer data that the character of the persons there would help that. But not just that. These are persons to who had produced results over the years. Whether it is Martin or whether it was Sami, they've picked cases, and we have seen that in the beginning people may have doubted them. But at the end of the day, they were right. We got results. And so clearly, citizens will have a lot more confidence to say, reporting to these people, I am sure my identity won't go out. And at the end of the day, there are likely to be results. And I think for me, that's where I saw Oral as being brilliant. It will not take away, and I'm trying to build on Martin's point, it will not change the fact that some persons may already have confidence in some of the institutions. So try to still have been receiving some reports. OSP, by virtue of who is there and their confidence. So they were already receiving some reports. Yeah. But I thought this was a unique platform. And I think we should keep it. You know, I align with him when he says that, look, part of the accountability measurement or measures, mechanisms in this country is when you have finished your tenure of government, anticipate and expect an oral. Anticipate and expect that there will be an attorney general who is going to pick up all those cases and go to court. It is because during your tenure, we may not have had the time to put a microscope to what you are doing.
So oral is a good precedent.
It's a good precedent. And let's stop calling all of this witch hunting. I think those who are in leadership should not just enjoy the perks and privileges and think that at the end of the day, that's it. After your perks and privileges, there's time for accountability. You should man up and be willing and ready to be accountable and allow people, whether it's going to be by oral and then an AG and going to court, just come and speak to it. So keep your data, make sure that you're ready to defend any actions you take. Don't all of a sudden then you want to disappear from jurisdiction and we can't find you. Things like that doesn't work for us.
Are you talking about kind of Reata?
Well, yes, I'm alluding to certain people. But I think that that's important. I also think that absolutely there are a number of things that are coming up that build on what we've been doing so far. The president's decision to have special courts, I think it's fantastic. I wish we had many more such special courts where these issues can come up and be heard on a daily basis. Special courts, not just in terms of mechanization, because we've tried that, it didn't work. We said it would be fast track, it didn't produce the results. But special courts with new court rules that say these courts will sit daily, that also have capacity building for the judges, for the prosecutors, so they understand the anti-corruption terrain. When the cases come, they will not look at a video that clearly somebody is saying, I gave you money, you didn't vote for me, and then they say this video is of no consequence and therefore we throw it out. No, that kind of thing ought not to happen. So in my view, I don't think, let's remember that the terms of reference for the oral team, they don't include go and investigate and produce. That was not it. So I think the languaging also, sometimes we need to be cautious. Maybe the AG meant to communicate one thing, but has been understood differently.
No, I played the full complement of it. I think the context is quite clear.
Yeah.
It was not meant to
in any way to demean or...
And he was quite careful in the choice of words. And he explained why.
I think oral achieved its purpose by raking in the evidence. And we are, at the moment, we are seeing the results. So let's not begin to suggest that it was an exercise in futility. Plus, I'm glad Martin has pointed out that they didn't take a peswa. That, I think, must be commended over and over again. Anytime we have opportunity, let's commend that team for doing what they did. And for me, it should be institutionalized. So every group that comes into government will know immediately after there will be an oral. I used to say oral hygiene is good for everybody. There will be an oral, and we'll use that data. It will be investigated. I have been saying let's give the AGs time, just as we should give the OSP time. When it comes to the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens, let's not be in a rush to say, hurry up and go to court. Allow them to do thorough investigations so that we don't breach or infringe on anybody's rights. But at the end of the day, those who should be held accountable should be held accountable.
But does that not also, although commended, yes, oral, but that also present a challenge that you have to wait till the end of a tenure to demand accountability when there are institutions that are to ensure, they've been mandated to ensure continuous accountability within the administration's period or the tenure, not after, so that I don't have confidence to go to Shraj or OSP, CID, IOCO to report an issue. I have to wait until after 4 years. What's the guarantee that you will even get the people and they will not be out of the jurisdiction and others, as we are seeing?
I think that just demonstrates the need we have to strengthen. For example, we've talked about the Conduct of Public Officers Bill. That should be passed. There are many cases where, especially dealing with public officers, you go to court, and because there are no clear sanctions regime, we just go round. It's as if you're a public officer, nothing can be done against you. There are certain aspects of our legal regime that need to be strengthened, and that's why we are struggling at the moment. If our internal audit systems, for example, were working, many of the things we are seeing as financial irregularity shouldn't come up. Again, it's a weakness of the internal audit system to the extent of then we get to audit recommendation implementation committees that are doing nothing. The follow-ups don't happen. So there are those issues that we need to confront upfront and say, these parts of our systems are not working. If internal audit was working, trust me, a lot of the issues we are contending with would not happen. But internal audit raises the issues. What are the sanctions that should be applied? How speedily are those sanctions applied? Otherwise, at the end of the day, we have a whole machinery in place, but we're not getting the results. So you're absolutely right. The COPO needs to be done. We need to strengthen some of the areas, illicit enrichment, reverse burden, those things are there. But internal audit, and as it leads to making sure that they are sanctioned, and that's why the president's idea of a special court on audit issues, for me, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
So because then the Auditor General's work is on a yearly basis.
Absolutely.
So then we don't have to wait till after,
you're not waiting to 4 years.
But imagine, Malaba, if we had to even get the Auditor General's report subjected to forensic auditing, that would even uncover more than what we're even crying about when we see in the Auditor General's report, is it not?
Which is what the AG demonstrated. I think one of the cases he said he had asked for forensic audit, and then the data, and I thought that was excellent. Yes.
So it ballooned from about 6 million to 2.2 million.
Exactly.
543.
Exactly.
To 2.2 billion.
And I thought it was a good way of deploying other agencies, because then the work that the lawyers need to do when they go to court is less, because the evidence is skunk. So that I thought was a very smart move. That look, let's get other agencies to pull out the evidence in a stronger way. That then you don't have to now do a lot of running about to then make sure the evidence.
So you would recommend another layer of auditing
that
beyond the Auditor General's report or the Auditor General's auditing. There has to be forensic auditing,
and I think they just need a checklist. That you can't do that for everything. You need to look at what cases maybe have a certain threshold and say that this one merits deploying additional, resources to get. Let's not attempt to do it for everything. So select based on some criteria so that additional work can be done.
Oral work, waste of time, or indeed coming to fill that particular void that Martin Kpebu talks about. Dr. Zaato is of the view that, look, if this was an approach taking, then why do you deliver a certain form of freedom to others by instituting nolle prosequis, or, as it were, deciding to discontinue some cases of persons associated with your party and then pursuing others who are outside of your party?
One of the issues that came up during the last election was fighting corruption, because we got to this point where each other day, and sometimes people will say each other week, we had acts of corruption or scandals breaking. And today, there are people who are still wondering how a government can be in place for 9 months and there's no scandal. Because they had gotten used to the scandals in the last administration such that they thought corruption scandals were a necessary byproduct of government.
All right, so that is it. NTUTM Komodidi na a very interesting and very, very educative program. Kudos to a TV3, what you say, Debia Mumayina educative program on the Ghana's political issue, and I say on Ghana's economy. You see, Kakra Bekani say, Attorney General Yura Akurutinga Dominic Ayine. Ni Jumadia Wodino. Some of us sebi enwie peye ewo yenimu. Mfanchemi. Ampopo manimu ye ansamatimi akam nsem no mfanchemi. Some of us ensem no sometimes ayana yebenyanka omamontin so emeye press conference. Enka de ebe hu ane se accused persons no odi omo akogina mbranimu. In fact, odi omo akogina embranimu straight to court. Na sika ewo se omo tuye o. Already omo cases so how omo cause financial loss to the state. For example, Wahab die offer buffer stock or no latest one chame the example. You see, sometimes yet say oh Attorney General say the omo court gift your already offer I think say 3 months or so and or share a case na say. But still yet you can't he now no it is wakojina court or plead not guilty. And until I joined the money Mahamakai said there should be a fast track court. And your papa John Mahama so kasa and seminar said in me a mega meet mean to me farmer being and as a mean to me and kase amunya fast track court. No. I omona emrani show muisem. Omoya no munim di omoye. And he says sometimes you know omunim say ena ebeko no na oman no ye ho beto ya. I think that they shouldn't come out and even lament. Any question on Bamonti to be did as soon as possible now no more or more put two things together. As soon as possible, no more put two things together. No more shall say I then a prosecute because scientists are sometimes you know ayana a man yeman koyi seeing NPP people or seeing the previous government looting this country. Omobe lutu oman weina omobe share there. In fact, ayana eya papa. So ombetimi afa oman ni sika. Na de eya wo mi so omode betoto dan ama omo gas. Omode betoto dan ama omo gas. Na omode bi nso ebeye enema bi emfata. Sometimes ayana mi bisa me ho say nti NPP fo we no again na ye obo omo adwin a omotimi ka say oh yes nya pe oman ni so adibio. I ask myself that question. Again e be see a mutimi bebe wi oman say na ebe wi akiri no mutiminya sa kokoduro no kase yesan akoyi ye candidate na ye di nipa no akọ 2028 elections and arawo sema ewom ni say obi frame nti mo fa nche me eni nti asem ni concentration no won say obi frame arawo sema ewom ni say sometimes no won NPP fo ni mpefe say Alhaji Bawumia ene na nado dankwa kufado under their regime ena saa nima we na course but they are behaving as an ostrich. They are behaving so munim DSA. Hmm? And then meet analysis bina and some more can say do on na se Bawumia na nkasa ogina court koba obey se wuntumi woni hwan ko kasa me pe national youth I mean national chairman for me party. Unze wuntumi bio wuntumi ntukwan se o hye enkofo pan achoma wuntumi senka be ya enka John Mahama ehunu mobo but uju o man sika no it is not about yehu obi mobo dabi yendi o man sika ema won ka se o ene senka obi abedi o man sika na nka aja ewi eche akopa ahemfo sabi omo de omo chacha wani omo kente fefe bi akopa acha o Jubilee House dabi enyesa ene enkofo na machire back door pa acha di mawuntumi and some of us and oye then koyi because wuntumi has caused financial loss to the state and there is no way this case will be what foolish case, excuse my language. Wuntumi must serve some jail terms whilst na battle no ekoso until there is no way wuntumi ebetumi abe that national chairman no even when only case krana enka be because wuntumi we imagine say mboka ko fa na ye mo national chairman NPP for na mu nye serious okurum ha oye regional chairman kwa eden contribution or the beka ho na mo fa national be national chairman. You see sometimes MPP if you be serious a little bit ebebo amu ankasa mu ye serious ebebo amu ankasa enti enyema na attorney general no oye no me hu ni say a delay. He is delaying some processes. The attorney general should be serious and concentrate because aban lawyer pani our attorney general no wujuma dia say minister for justice and minister for I think say justice and BB so attorney general and justice you see what dia ni say o ma paper ya to obi a wadi sika obi a waye for ni gina mranim. It is not about making press conferences upon press conferences. No, for ni gina mranim. Fani ko pie ngoko no ko yi na no ho na bafa stock ye eti ya ko ejina onu we ka se enye no credit say sa charges na attorney general onko kan wo court. He should go and explain to court, not court of public opinion and I will yes animal or assembly aka onko na onko eden oni court no ko ka say no ko se say nyapade no sa properties no in fact sa mansions any niema wa akwai no mrakwan so no nya ya he should go and explain to the what the court of jurisdiction, not the court of public opinion. Anya ye na be ka kire ko na ko ka kire court no na court no embisa se okay fa wayi wa sense dia na se fa wayi evidence ebra montis na ye nhwe. It is simple as ABC. It is really simple. It's a na obekasa uni ebeye sa banta. It's MPP. Mon kama runtu na muntina china mon hwa mamu papa because John Mahama sharp or minor. The only problem I have is the way he is dealing with corruption. No, very slow. And you know, say, your two Abamawa is about 3.5 years, in 4 years. What I say? Ube you ministers, even John Mahama Kwan or yes, smarter, utimi, any ministers, any appointees, a moko vetting or ye or muntentem, nenkentisa, enka, enyama beka papa wapa. Iti papa yesro. I was a fast track court now, can was no, but me yen in 10 times so. Na economy na Ghana so you find to perfect because of my way abonofo abedu my way so atwam enti san kofo nyina I will say timi efishe mo out na sabi sika mo adie financial loss to the state no they will recover all that loot kira wadwen na kupo kira makro bye bye.